that's the thing about Black people. We take up the worst causes from other people and we do it better than them, or worse, however you want to frame it. We do it worse than them. We say, you know what? I see white women leaving their households and moving into this feminist movement. I one up you. And not only that, we're going to double down on the single mother epidemic. Most of these causes don't even come from us. It comes from weak men in the white community that decide that they want to get liberal. And they then we follow right on behind them. We love fucking white people. We love, and listen, I love all people, but we love the worst of white culture. We love it. We love it to our core. It is the thing that is so awesome. And we decide that we want to adopt all of the worst policies that come from white liberals. And we say, you know what? Give it all to us. Put it in our households. Give it to our children. Gentle parenting. All of the worst shit that just proliferate. And we don't take the good from white culture. We take the worst from it, because every culture has shit that's horrible about it. Every culture. Indians got some shit that's on their shit. Asians got some horrible shit. And you can segment it off. Japanese, Chinese, Korean, they all got some shit that they dealing with, right? But we be like, you know what? We're not gonna take the good. We gonna go take the bad. We jump on government assistance and we be like, you know what? But white women doing it, so we gonna do it too. But we gonna do it better, and we gonna live on Section 8 forever. And that's what I don't understand. Whenever I see a liberal white woman come into the room, I automatically just start getting a pause. And I just be like, what you up to this time?
I feel like it's a lot of the white women due to school, because I went to University of Oregon. I'm from Washington State. So I was around a lot of liberal white people. And I think it's indoctrination, if we're being 100%.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because it's in the universities. It's in all of the shit. It's in everything. Is y'all learning from college? Everything we do is just come straight from that. Get pregnant in college, all of that shit. So we want to explore, turn our sons gay, come straight from liberal white women.
Do you guys believe that it's not necessary to care about others if it doesn't affect us personally?
I believe in anything that people believe in that's right. So, for example, the first thing that I identify with, whether people agree with me or not, is Christian principles. Like, I believe in America. I believe in Christian principles. If we on the same page when it comes to how we see things, I don't care what your color is. I don't define myself by things that we can't control. You can't control if you was born a man or a woman. You can't control if you was born black or white or whatever. But I do hate when people use identity politics to try to justify their bad ways. So no, I'm not advocating for somebody just because they're Asian, or just because you black, or just because you white, or just because you Arabic or Latino or whatever. Latinx, they now try to say black and brown people. I'm not advocating for nobody for nothing. But I am going to advocate between right and wrong, because it doesn't cost you anything to make the right decision. And if you just so happen to be Asian and you get arrested, take your ass to jail. And if you just so happen to be black and you do the wrong thing, take your ass to jail.
So I'm speaking on advocating for people who are being faced with injustice. Is it okay for other people, regardless of background, to advocate for people who are being mistreated or being presented with an injustice?
Diddy had injustice done against him. It's the truth.
Anybody else? Does anybody else on the panel feel that?
No, that was an injustice. And so I advocated for the freedom of Diddy, because that was a domestic violence situation, not a RICO charge.
Okay, so what about the people that may be facing injustices within the system?
Give me a specific example. I gave you one, you give me one.
I guess we can go off of the video. Let's say there are Black men or Black people being taken in just, you know, without
Like
regard.
what? Give me a specific name. Give me a situation.
I know
That's his opinion. He just talking shit based off of what he heard. I don't
okay.
actually believe that it actually happened.
All right,
Okay.
Jazz. Jazz, how about this? If there is
No,
somebody that I
I can
know,
speak for myself if I could just
Yeah.
finish. Thank you.
sure.
So what I'm asking is, even if you don't know the person, because this we know injustices happen to people. My question is, if you know that there's an injustice happening to someone, is it okay for other people to advocate for the injustice that's happening to them, even if it doesn't affect us? Why or why not?
It's a situation. It's a case by case basis. That's why I say, give me an example.
I agree. I do agree with you. I do. But then I don't want to give you my my crazy background, but
I just wanted to know, because I guess for me, it's just like, okay, like I get it. Like being a Black person in America, we already know that story. Well, some of us do. Some of us choose not to know, whatever. But I do know that, I guess, when we only look out for ourselves, I feel like we kind of create a world that's less safe and fair, because like if we're ignoring poverty, if we're ignoring injustices, just because it doesn't affect us, it doesn't make it disappear. It actually, I think it can fuel crime. It can fuel or promote instability, division, et cetera, et cetera. So if we normalize unfair systems just because they target someone else, those same systems can be used against us later. So problems don't, may I finish? So I was saying, like, problems don't stay isolated, whether it's, inequality or health or safety, they just spread. So looking out for others isn't just about compassion, it's self-preservation, right? Because a society that's fairer and safer for them will always be like fairer and safer for us. So that's why I'm saying, like, wouldn't it benefit people to speak up for injustices if we notice there's an injustice in the system that could one day affect us? Shouldn't we speak up on that?
The problem
I would.
hold on. The problem with your argument is that often at times what you deem as injustice, I deem as real. You deem it as injustice, I deem it as justice.
Yeah.
And so just because you believe that it's injustice, and this is why this is the greatest country on earth.
So give me an example of what you think is
you
injustice.
believe something is wrong doesn't mean that I believe the same thing.
Sure, absolutely. Oh, I totally know that's how you feel.
So
give me an example.
You believe that advocating for injustice, but I think that you're just making the problem exponentially worse by giving people an excuse to continue to perpetuate bad behavior in the community. I believe that people that think that they advocating for the injustice, often at times, not all the time, but often at times, they are actually making the community worse.
Correct.
Because then they remove the accountability from the people that are actually perpetuating the crimes.
I agree. I'm not saying you're right. We may view certain things I may view an injustice one way, you may view some different. Cool. So I'm asking you specifically, what would you deem as an injustice towards someone that you would advocate for outside of what happened to
you know what? Hold on, wait. You know why that's a difficult thing to answer?
Why? Can you give me an example of what you think is an injustice?
Yeah, I'm about to answer your question. You know why that's a difficult thing? Is because you asked me to give an example earlier. I gave you one. I asked you to give me an example. You redirected the whole conversation, went on a soliloquy, and didn't give me anything. And now you asking me to give you another example. So before we get to mine, because I have plenty, before we get to mine, I'm asking you again, can you give me an example?
Okay, so I guess an example would be what happened with Sonia Massey, right? I know you had a very strong view on that. And it turns out Oh, you were totally against what the police did to that woman. She called them for help. They came in and they killed her. I remember like really like feeling proud because I heard you speak to the injustice that happened to that woman and you were being fair. And so that was a great example of you advocating for an injustice because that happened to her unfairly. It was unjustified and it could happen to someone else. So that's an example of an injustice. So those are two things we can agree that is an injustice. Do you
Was
have
Sonia Massey the one that I'm just rejogging my memory because there's a lot of stuff that we talked about a lot of things. Was that the woman that called the police and the police was in her house and then they wound up killing her?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I remember who she is. I got you.
Yes. So you were like, there was no excuse. The police, that was bad police, and you stood on business. And I commend you for
I
that.
still believe the same thing.
Right. So
See,
that's
how you can tell that I'm objective and I don't just make
in that moment, in that moment, I definitely saw that from you, and I appreciated that moment. So I'm just saying that's an example of advocating against a system that has done an injustice to a person that wasn't us, but it can happen to us.
But the problem is this, though, Jazz, is I don't believe that that's the system. I believe that was a bad cop.
Okay. There were more than one cop. There was more than one cop
saying,
involved in that.
It's a difference between saying the entire system is broken. I believe that there are parts of it that could be better, right? I don't think that capitalism is bad, but I think that there are bad parts of it that can actually be improved because just because I agree with the majority of it doesn't mean that I think the entire thing is bad. The problem in the community for me personally is we will take a bad cop and we will say cops are bad. And that's not true because I believe that cop was wrong. I believe that Sonia Massey had an injustice done to her, but I don't believe that all police officers are bad. But we can advocate for better training, but it doesn't mean that the system itself is broken.
Do you think it was an injustice that happened to Tamir Rice?
I don't remember that one either. Jog my memory.
Tamir Rice was a child in a park playing with a toy, and he was killed upon the arrival of police. He actually shot him while the car was still moving before he got out of the car.
I don't think I ever reviewed that because I don't think I deep dove into that case.
Yeah, well, that was a crazy thing that happened. It was.
I can't speak on it, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. So, but you do know, like, a cop killing a kid in a park is wrong.
I'm not gonna speak on something until I get the details.
Okay.
I'd have to review it.
I like to answer Jazz's question if I can. I absolutely do believe that you can speak up when there's an injustice. Like, for example, everybody saw that video of the black man who was stopped by police and they punch him in the face. Like the cop punched him in the face. Like,
that's a more recent one.
That was an injustice that I think people did speak up about because my husband's black. My husband drives every day. That's literally his job. He drives from store to store. So my husband's black. So yes, in that example, I believe people did speak up correctly.
I spoke up about it. I actually went against the majority of people that was in the Republican Party that said that the cop and the police officer was right. And I went against the majority of my chat. And they said that the cop and the police officer was right. A lot of people said that the cop was right for punching him in the face. Now, what I said was specifically that he was wrong, but I also said that the black guy was wrong for how it is that he reacted to them pulling him over in the first place. And so I said that two things can be true at the same time. But again, I don't think that an individual cop's actions dictate or is a reflection of the entire police force in the United States of America, the same way that I can't say that I want to be judged based off of how I see black culture and the black community perpetuate 50% of the crimes because I'm not a person that's a criminal. And so I don't want to be lumped in with a whole group of people in the same way that I know plenty of police officers that are good, upstanding gentlemen that went into their communities and they police it, and some of them are black, and they grew up in a community and they thought that they was going to do some good, but they're hated by the very people that they are helping and that they are community policing just because they put the uniform on, and they don't judge them based off of their individual actions.
I think the injustice part, Jazz, like more people speak on the injustice the wrong way. Like Anton said, not just because you think it was unjust, that doesn't mean that I think it's just. I think there's just more people who take that example and they just run with it. They run
Exactly.
with it. They want to generalize. They want to like all police officers are bad, and the whole thing with all police officers or kid killers. I think that one narrative, lots of people, more people, it's an excuse to just run with it. I don't think you should generalize at all. But
And
yes,
that's true. Yeah,
I
that's
believe
very
that people
true.
should speak up in justice part, but they should do it correctly
Yeah,
and not
I agree.
generalize.
And I think more people, especially when we do see blatant injustices happen to marginalized groups, I think it would help to change those things if other people from other communities see the clear injustice, not talking about a criminal, not talking about somebody who deserves, you know, legal punishment or what have you. We're talking about clear as day, irrefutable, factual injustices that happens. And I think that it would help if other
Yeah.
people, other groups spoke up when those things happened a lot more, because I think it will bring about balance and it'll let people know, like, okay, we can't keep doing this like this because everybody's noticing it, and it's actually an issue. I think when we are,
What makes a community? What's marginal? What identify a marginalized community? Is it the gay community? Is it the women? What makes a community marginalized? Because I don't, these terms, they blanket terms and you can use them and make them applicable to anything, but I don't think that that's an accurate term to use. What makes a
Um,
community marginalized?
I don't know. I just know that there is a disparity that happens
So
when it comes to
how can you use the
policing.
term if you
Well,
don't?
I don't know what I I can't really say. When I think of marginalized, it's groups within a culture that are targeted a certain type of way based on whatever that group is. So we know that there's disparities in the community against Black and Brown communities as far as policing in America. We know it's not all police. I'm just wondering how many good police do we have to like line up? Because like Carmen said, you thought that what happened to that gentleman that just got beat up in the car was wrong, and it was like 6 cops, and not one cop thought to say, "Yo, this is wrong. We shouldn't do that."
So
So it's just
because
like
a
how
cop
many
hit
good.
him in the face, all black and brown people are marginalized.
Let me give you the definition real quick so we can clear this up. Marginalized community is a group of people excluded from mainstream society due to factors like race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, and disability. This exclusion leads to unequal access to resources, opportunities, and power, resulting in social, economic, and political disadvantages.
I know
Perfect.
this
So
is not. I know this. I
we've
know that this is
seen,
not a popular take.
we
Right?
know, we
I'm gonna let you
know
have it.
through
One mic,
history.
one mic.
I know that this is
You
not a popular take, and I'm gonna let you have it. But I personally
I
think
actually will concede. Thank you guys for
it doesn't matter. I'm still
the
gonna say it.
dialogue. Yeah,
I,
no,
I
I'm
know
done
that
speaking
this.
on it.
I know that this is not a popular take. I believe that the ones that we say are the most marginalized are the ones that got the most handouts and the ones that we overcorrected for and tried to make it seem like that they were marginalized in order for them to get all of this stuff and take it away from people that actually deserved it. And I'll give you several different examples. I'll give you a few examples. We tried to say that women are marginalized today, and that led to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and women getting opportunities a lot of times that they didn't deserve. We said that Black people were marginalized, and at different points in history they were, but we leveraged affirmative action, which we then tried to abolish. We had to get rid of it. And we leveraged diversity, equity, and inclusion to get them into universities that they didn't qualify for. We pushed out other people that actually deserved to be there, that tested better, that did better in school, that did more community organizing, that had better stats, that had better test scores, that had better grades. And they couldn't get in there because we had to have so many of people based off of things that they can't control inside of these institutions and universities. We did it when it came to the job market. And I will also tell you that public enemy number one in this overcorrection of marginalized communities actually became white men. White men didn't matter if you knew them, didn't matter if they did anything to you. They could never have done anything in their lives. We made them the face of the enemy, and we automatically start throwing terms like fascist, narcissism. We start saying that they were the enemies, and all you see, they're gonna turn their cameras off on this part. White men became the enemy of the
I'm
United
listening.
States of
No
America.
worries.
Became the enemy of the United States of America. And so we started to go after them, and men in general, but white men more. We started to go after men when we said believe all women. We started to go after men with the family court that y'all won't update, even though y'all got all of the freedoms. We started to go after men when it came to the Me Too movement. We started to go after men when it came to child support laws. We started to go after men and take their resources and made them public enemy number one. In the same way that they leverage Black women as the face of all of these movements in order to get all of these marginalized benefits, they did the opposite when it came to men, but it was applicable to all men because none of us actually had any safety net. And they used white men's face as the mascot to push y'all through. And now y'all can say y'all the most educated and the most enrolled. And when they removed diversity, equity, and inclusion and said that y'all had to stand on merit, all of y'all became unemployed right after that.